Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into an absolutely mind-blowing 4.6 billion year journey. We're going to track the ultimate story of survival, adaptation, and the sheer unstoppable will of life to persist against all odds. If you've ever found yourself wondering how we got from a chaotic, empty void to the incredibly complex world we live in right now, well, you are in the exact right place. So let's jump right into it. 4.6 billion. That is a massive number. That represents the years since our planet first formed. But back then, Earth was absolutely nothing like the beautiful blue marble we know today. Picture this, a chaotic, boiling sphere of volcanic lava, toxic gas, and violent storms. And get this, there wasn't a single drop of water. It was an environment so intensely hostile, you'd think nothing could ever possibly survive there. So, how exactly did a literal ball of fire turn into our home? To really wrap our heads around our own existence, we have to explore some of the greatest plot twists in planetary history. We're going to see how life repeatedly faced apocalyptic cataclysms, stared down total destruction, and somehow, incredibly, bounced back stronger every single time. Part 1. Birth of the Earth and First Life. Let's start with our very first era, where some extreme environmental shifts slowly paved the way for an absolute miracle. Imagine relentless millions of years of just non-stop rain. This literally cooled the burning Earth enough to form massive oceans. But the air? It was still completely toxic. Then, deep down in the water, microscopic life emerged. Over time, some of these tiny organisms began producing oxygen. That single, tiny biological shift totally changed the planet's destiny. It cleared the air, allowed thick forests to grow, and made the world habitable for everything that followed. Moving on to Part 2, Dinosaurs and the Great Extinction. Fast forward to about 230 million years ago. This stage is finally set for the dinosaurs, kicking off a period of truly incredible evolutionary adaptation. Now, you might be surprised to know that early Triassic dinosaurs were actually tiny and super nimble. Some were honestly no bigger than a modern fox. But as they adapted over millions of years into the Jurassic period, they transformed into walking mountains. I mean, we're talking about the 40-ton Brachiosaurus, or the Titanosaurus, casually eating leaves from trees that were 10 stories high. Their footsteps literally shook the earth. But then an unimaginable threat arrived from above. 70,000 kilometers per hour. That is the terrifying speed at which a 10 to 15 kilometer wide asteroid slammed into the coast of modern-day Mexico. It was history's most devastating plot twist. This sudden cataclysm was just apocalyptic. The impact triggered mega tsunamis towering thousands of feet that crashed across the globe. Thick smoke and ash completely blocked out the sun for months, and this freezing darkness ultimately wiped out the mighty dinosaurs. But here is exactly why this matters so much to you and me. In those freezing ashes, the evolutionary stage was completely cleared. With the giant predators gone, small, hidden mammals finally had their chance to emerge and thrive. Which brings us to Part 3, the rise of humans. Let's jump to about 2.5 crore, or 25 million years ago in Africa. The geography was completely changing, and it forced our ancient ancestors into a revolutionary physical transformation. As mountains rose up and the climate cooled down, Africa's dense forests shrank into vast grassy plains. Our primate ancestors basically had to come down from the trees just to search for food. This shift led to bipedalism, which is walking upright on two legs. And because their hands were suddenly free, they developed the absolutely crucial ability to craft stone weapons and tools, a real game changer. Part 4, the power of imagination. Okay, so physical adaptation kept early hominids alive, sure. But around 300,000 years ago, we hit the cognitive revolution. This was an absolute explosion in our thinking power. Our ancestors weren't just simply reacting to a predator rustling in the bushes anymore. They were planning for tomorrow, they were gossiping, they were sharing really complex knowledge through language, and most importantly, they started inventing myths and concepts that didn't even physically exist. The absolute crucial takeaway here is that our ability to believe in shared fictions, think tribal identities, spirits, or later on, nations and laws, is the exact thing that allowed thousands of complete strangers to cooperate. No other animal on Earth can organize a group of 50,000 to build a sprawling city or fight a coordinated war. This shared imagination, it's exactly how we ended up dominating the globe. Part 5, Global Migration and the DNA Twist. Driven by shifting climates and honestly a deep, restless curiosity about what lay just over the next mountain range, Homo sapiens began this epic migration out of Africa. We expanded into Europe, Asia, Australia, and eventually all the way to the Americas. But here is a stunning twist that modern DNA research has revealed. The world wasn't empty when we got there. We actually met other human species, like Neanderthals and Denisovans, and we didn't just fight them, we interbred with them, leaving up to 4% of their DNA in modern humans today. They didn't entirely vanish. They literally became a part of who we are. Part 6, Surviving the Ice Age. Around 20,000 years ago, things got incredibly harsh. Temperatures absolutely plummeted to -20 degrees Celsius. Massive, furry, prehistoric beasts perished in the cold. But humans? We didn't freeze. Why? Because we used our intellect to artificially adapt to that brutal environment. We wore thick animal skins, we completely mastered the constant use of fire, and we sheltered deep in caves. This mental flexibility is, without a doubt, our ultimate superpower. Part 7. Dawn of Civilizations. When the ice finally started to melt and the climate stabilized around 11,000 years ago, humanity made its biggest pivot yet. We just stopped running. The agricultural revolution changed absolutely everything. By farming seeds and domesticating animals, we finally didn't have to hunt every single day just to survive. And all that new free time, it sparked an explosion of innovation. We went from basic stone tools to crafting really strong copper axes. We started weaving cotton. And crucially, we created a division of labor, transforming wandering tribes into highly organized, stationary societies. During this era, two early river societies thrived, but in entirely different ways. Over in Mesopotamia, built between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, they focused heavily on towering ziggurat temples and strict, written laws dictated by powerful kings. Meanwhile, the Indus Valley Civilization was busy pioneering incredible civic engineering. We're talking underground drainage systems and grid-like roads, all while operating as a remarkably peaceful society, with practically no evidence of absolute kings or massive weapons. Ultimately, though, as populations boomed in these massive new cities, society desperately needed organized leadership. This led directly to the creation of social classes, military defense, taxes, and kings. And it brings us full circle, right back to the cognitive revolution. Early human leaders used our unique, inherent ability to believe in shared myths, religions, and laws to keep these massive, diverse groups united and functioning together. Which brings us to the ultimate question. As we wrap up this explainer covering billions of years of catastrophic plot twists, asteroid impacts, ice ages, and our own incredible mental resilience, I really want to leave you pondering our future. We have adapted to literally every single thing the universe has thrown at us. So with our rapidly advancing technology and this highly interconnected world we live in, where exactly does the human story go next? Thanks so much for exploring this with me today, and keep learning.